Welcome to Just Some Guy Trading with 2021 World Champion Trader Kevin McCormick. I'm Kevin McCormick, and welcome to my outlook for the stock market for April 2023. Many traders and folks out there hear about the Santa Claus rally and the stock market being strong to end the year. This is true, but something most traders don't know is that April is historically one of the strongest months of the year. Been especially strong the last 20 to 50 years. And as my followers know, I've really transitioned to following seasonal patterns in the stock market and commodities heavily over the last 5 years, and it's really accelerated my returns as a trader. But we have an extra cycle going on this year, and that's the presidential term cycle, with this being in the president's third year and the pre-election term, which really turns up the dial on the returns in the month of April. Let's jump into it. The third year of a presidential cycle is almost twice the return of every other month during the presidential cycle. A lot of people have different beliefs about this and why this happens. I kind of am in the camp of saying that all the politicians have moved into election season now, and they're just trying to keep the voters happy to get reelected, and that causes the market to be calm and accelerate in the third year of a presidential term. To highlight even more data behind this, first 2 years of Biden's term, we had what was called the trifecta, where he had every branch of government. Now we have a split Congress, and that sets us up even more for a positive return. As you can see here, if we had a trifecta going on right now, I'd be a little bit more concerned about our April returns, because it is much lower when they have control of every branch of Congress. But that is not the case this year. So I think we're set up for an April rally. But one last look at this is data going back to 1931 on the pre-election year, which we're in right now for the presidential term. April has been by far, next to January, the strongest month of the year, and we're heading into it right now. If you don't believe in these cycles, that's okay, but I'll just highlight as well that the last 2 quarters have never been negative during the presidential cycle. I highlighted this at the end of September. We all thought the market was going much lower. We'll see how the month of March ends up, but we're looking at an over 10% return over the last 2 quarters, aligning with that cycle that has never been negative in history. And I think April is setting up to have a great month for us as well. Not only am I here talking about this, as my intro stated, I won the 2021 Futures Championship Trading Contest. I took 2022 off, and I'm off to a great year again this year in the contest. I'm not just here talking. I have true audited results that follow what I'm talking about. Enough with the PowerPoints. Let's jump into a couple charts to highlight how and where I think the market could rally. As a reminder, this presentation and all of my presentations are for educational purposes only. All right, the charts we're going to look at today, we're going to start off with the Williams True Seasonal, and then I'm going to jump into the DeMark indicators and some resistance levels that I think are important for the month of April. For those of you that aren't current subscribers, just as a reminder, I do a weekly update every weekend telling you the setups that I see in the stock market and the commodities markets. I recommend watching that on top of this April outlook. So here in April, we'll see on the True Seasonal that we are set up for a rally right here, right now. And as I'm recording this currently, it's the middle of the last week of March, and we have had a bit of a rally here, and we should rally all the way through the end of April, aligning with all the stuff I just showed you on the PowerPoints. But the other thing I love about April is it has 2 of my favorite seasonal trades. So if we take a look at the daily True Seasonal, you can see that we're going to have some ups and downs, but the same trend is in place. And next week, we'll talk about it on my weekly outlook. We have the Easter holiday trade hitting next week, and we also have the tax trade hitting in April. 2 of my favorite seasonal trades of the year. We'll dive deeper into those in the weekly outlook. But as you can see here, the Williams True Seasonal, which combines all of the historical seasonal data, is saying that we are set up to rally right here, right now, through the month of April, which is tough to believe after the rally we've just experienced the last 2 weeks. But this is what the cycles and the trend is showing us currently. Now let's jump into where I see possible resistance for the month of April and what we should be doing around these levels. Now that we've discussed the seasonal pattern and where that points to us going in the month of April, let's take a look into where we could go in the possible resistance levels in the S&P 500. As my viewers know, I like to take a look at the S&P 500 futures contract, anti-ETF, and sometimes the SPX as well to look for divergence and consistencies in our indicators and signals. That's why I've been highlighting 4,200 or 420 in the SPY as our areas of resistance instead of the 410 level that some of the other people on this street have been talking about. For those of you that aren't current subscribers, you'll know that back in February, this area of resistance gave me confidence to call for the pullback in the S&P 500 that we experienced, and now the rally that we have upcoming. So this is my area of resistance for the month of April, but let's talk about where else we could be going by doing a deeper dive into the SPY ETF. So you see here on the SPY ETF, I've also added our relative retracement levels that we cleared back here and give us areas of now support levels for here as well. We got that sell 9 in the SPY. You did not see this in the futures contract, highlighting why I like to look at multiple indices. But here we are right here, right now in the month of March, finishing things off as I'm recording this. We do not have any sell signals anywhere near forming yet in the charts based on my research. And so where do I think we could go going next? I think we go back up into these highs, probably even come up and touch the 420 level. And then that will be the area where we want to get a little cautious and see where the market goes next. If we break out above 420, which would already be a 5% return for the month of April, then I think our next area that we could hit is 430 area. And at that point, I think if we do that in the month of April, that then we'd be seeing some very clear sell signals and buyer exhaustion in the market using the indicators I use. And I will let you guys know as my viewers on my weekly update if I see any changes to my outlook for April, and that if any sell signals or any areas of caution come into play. But for traders out there, I'd love to catch a 5% move in the S&P 500 in April. We're not long buy and hold people here. We're traders, and catching a 5% move in the S&P 500, especially as a futures trader, is big money. Thanks for watching Just Some Guy Trading and my outlook for the month of April. If you've enjoyed this content, please subscribe and like to this video to catch more content in our weekly outlook.